Good evening, everyone. This is Iridium Kush, and I wanted to make a quick video this evening here. I've been on road travels here the past week, and when I had stopped to get gas here at one of my pit stops, I noticed this statement on the pump. I've seen it 100 times on the pump, and just never really thought, just nonchalantly thought nothing of it. But a revelation hit me when I saw this one time. For whatever reason, must have been in reflective thought while I was driving down the freeway or interstate or whatever. Says contains up to, so this is a gas pump. This is a, petrol gasoline pump in the United States. And it says there at the pump, contains up to 10% ethanol. Okay. I forget sometimes as a chemical engineer, I take my chemical engineering knowledge for granted. For those who don't know, ethanol is the same thing as the alcohol. Ethanol is an alcohol. It is, in fact, the same alcohol that you put in alcoholic drinks. Let me repeat that. Ethanol is the same alcohol that you put in alcoholic drinks. That same additive that is put in gasoline is also something you put in your drink. Why am I bringing this to attention? Why am I even bringing this to the fore? Because you see, in order to quit a habit like drinking or addiction to alcohol, you have to look at these things differently. You have to see these as not positive things. You have to look at something like an addiction to alcohol as a bad thing. You have to associate alcohol with being a bad thing. You see, when you're addicted to alcohol, you associate alcohol with being a good thing. Part of overcoming an addiction like this is learning to associate it with being negative, associate it with being bad. So I could think of no better way to associate alcohol as being bad. They use it as an additive for gasoline. And even as an additive for gasoline, it isn't very good for internal combustion engines because it has a low octane rating. In other words, it has low punch. This was all part of this whole feel-good, government subsidized green energy bullshit. But I want to make a point. When you, instead of associating alcohol with something as a tasty beverage, think of it as a gasoline additive. You wouldn't drink gasoline, would you? You wouldn't drink brake fluid, would you? You wouldn't drink transmission fluid, would you? Then why would you drink a gasoline additive? You can even use grain alcohol that you buy in a liquor store as a suitable substitute for gasoline. You can run an internal combustion engine off grain alcohol alone. It cuts down on the performance of the engine, but it works. Again, this is a psychological exercise in as much as and a mental exercise in as much as anything else. When you start associating it with negative things like that, things you would never put in your mouth, you start thinking along the mindset of, yeah, that's bad. I wouldn't put that in my mouth either. It's part of mentally conditioning yourself. It's a part, you have to rewire your brain to look at this differently. I, as a chemical engineer, see alcoholic beverages differently than most people. I see that as a poison, as an organic solvent. I see it for what it is. So that's my little informative video. It's a little psychological lesson. People are wondering why there's just this nonchalant picture of a gas pump in the middle of the dirty South. Well, that's why. It was kind of a profound revelation to me about mental conditioning. And that's my takeaway here is it's about mental reconditioning, whether it's about alcohol addiction or addiction to nicotine, cigarettes, or anything like that. The first step you have to take is to associate it in a negative way, not in a positive way, or look at it in something other than a positive and something other than it makes you feel good. But with that, I'm going to end the video and have a good evening. Have a good evening, everyone, and be good.